Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of DFV. I am Black Cinephile.
And I am Brad.
There's Brad. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you will. Give us some engaging feedback. Tell us what you like of the video. If you agree with us and our opinions on these two so-called films we're discussing today. I'm excited for this one, man. It feels like we got a nice matchup.
Yeah, this one ended up being a surprisingly good pairing, we've been knocking these random pairings out of the park lately with them just happening to be like a lot better than we expect.
You know, when a new film comes out, we always go, you know what, man? Because this film is going out, let's do this versus this. If it works out, it doesn't. If it doesn't work out, then we'll have a very interesting, funny podcast. And it just ends up working out.
Yeah. So for this one, we are doing the film Ray, based on Ray Charles Robinson from 2004, going up against Elvis, based on the story of Elvis Presley that just came out this past weekend, or was it last week?
This past weekend, yeah.
This past weekend, okay.
You want to go chronological?
Yeah, let's go chronological with this one.
All right, it makes sense. I'll take the baton on Ray, and you introduce us to the plot of Elvis.
Sounds good.
All right. I mean, I ain't got much to say here. I mean, Ray is basically a film from 2004, directed by Taylor Hackford, with Jamie Foxx in the lead title role, playing Ray Charles. Ray Charles is a blind blind rhythm and blues musician, rather than just saying R&B, but actually rhythm and blues musician. Very famous, very influential musician. Again, he is blind, and he's very exceptional in his piano and vocal talents. And this film basically follows him from childhood to I want to say to his to like middle age, and then it cuts to later age a little bit in the epilogue. But it basically follows him from like childhood to the rise of his career, the downfall, and then the return back, the rise again in the end. So basically, Ray, it starts off with him as a kid with his little brother. They live in a very poor part of the South. Ray goes through a traumatic event with his brother dying in a drowning, and because he lives with guilt of not being able to, not saving him in the moment.
It's important to note that he drowned in a wash bin, because it's a major thing that comes up a bunch of times in the movie where he has flashbacks to that moment. And because he's blind, he has these moments where he believes that he's reliving the moment because he can feel the water around him. He can hear the water, and he can hear the wash bin, and then feel his brother's dead body. So it really haunts him. And it's something that plays throughout the entire movie in different parts of his life as he's constantly being haunted by the trauma that caused.
Yeah. And basically, something happens to Ray as he grows up, and he basically goes blind. And his mother, who is a very tough on nails mother, but she gives him great tough love to make him tough in the world. She basically tells him, like, listen, the first 2 times I'll show you how to do things and I'll guide you, but the rest you're going to have to figure out on your own. This world ain't going to take pity on you because you're blind. And that really molds him into the tough man he is in present day, as we follow him, trying to get his hustle on as a musician. He starts off with a country club. Then he moves on to a jazz club, or a traveling jazz band that kind of cheats him. And we just basically follow him through his ups and downs to the point where he becomes a signed recording artist. And he starts making, all the classic hits we know today: Hit the Road, Jack, Baby, It's All Right, all these classic hits, even if you don't know Ray Charles, you watch this movie and you hear some songs, you go, oh man, he made that song.
You might not know the artist, but you definitely know the songs that made him famous.
Yeah, and it basically follows him through the pitfalls of his career and his life. He gets married, falls in love, he commits infidelity, outside children, drugs, contract disputes, fallout with friends because of because business fallout with friends. And it just follows him through ups and downs, man. And I just got to say, dude, hands down, this is one of my favorite movies, dude. I saw this movie opening day when it came out with my grandma. And I didn't know much about Ray Charles, but when I saw it, I was like, I knew Jamie Foxx as the funny guy by this point. You know, he hadn't really taken a huge serious role by this point. And if he did, it was like not as important. This film got him an Oscar, and well-deserved. I mean, he nails it. But before I go into why I love this film, this is your first time watching this?
For this one, I had actually seen this. I didn't remember that I had seen it, but as I was watching it, I was coming back and going, oh yeah, this is one of those movies that people kept going because Ray Charles died just before the premiere of this movie, which gave it this huge boost of like people going, oh my God, it's a movie about him. He almost made it to the premiere of it before he died. So there was this huge interest in this movie. And that's when I saw it. And I remember seeing it in like the Dollar Theater. I didn't see it like opening night or anything like that. It was one of those, you know, dollar movie theaters in the bowling alley kind of thing. But I remember seeing this movie after watching it. I was like, I remember this part. I remember this part. Either I'm remembering this movie from the trailers from so long ago, or I've seen this movie. And as it kept going, I was like, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, it really is. It's a memorable. I'm surprised you didn't remember it that much because it's such a memorable film to me. Like I saw this film and I just couldn't wait for it to come out on DVD. You know, my mom bought it on DVD, and then her and I watched it for the first time together, and she loved it. This film was just such a great. It was a great Black film, but it was a great film in general. Like when you look at the talent behind this, man, you got Jamie. Kerry Washington, Regina King, Clifton Powell, Harry Lennox, Terrence Howard, Lorenz Tate. I can go on and on. Anjanae Ellis from King Richard. It's just so much great acting power in this movie.
Yeah, it's nonstop with it. And it does a great way of telling the story of Ray Charles because it starts off with his childhood. It slowly goes up to when he's starting out, and you get these little flash ins of his childhood and him going blind and him kind of overcoming it. Like one of the scenes when he's a kid, and I want to say like almost directly after he's gone fully blind and he's kind of wandering the house and he's using like, he feels the heat of the chimney and stuff like that. And he uses that, as his way of getting there. And then he knows it's too hot, so he has to stop there. And he finds like the brick, and he starts walking around the brick and everything. So he didn't start off blind. They actually go pretty good into detail of like him kind of starting to go blind, with him having like the blurred vision, and then he'd like look over and he has perfect vision, and then it's back to blurred. And then there's certain things that he can see extremely clearly, and then things that are just out. And he's doing this like salve or something on his eyes to try and help him, and it's not working. It's actually hurting him. And, you know, I don't know if it was ever something that was found out like that advanced it or anything like that, but the movie kind of alludes to that.
I'm sure you can look it up, but I don't know if it's mentioned in the film, like what happened.
It's kind of alluded in the film with those scenes and everything where that made his condition worse instead of helping it. But I don't know if it was meant to be like the actual solution was making it worse, or his blindness just was so far gone that nothing could have helped him at that point.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, dude, the flashback scenes, like, this overall is a great film, but there are so many chilling moments from his flashbacks that, look, man, there's only been 3 movies that have brought me to the point of chopping onions and, you know, tears fall down from my eyes. Ron's Gone Wrong, an Emilio Estevez film called Bobby, and this, dude, like at the funeral with his little brother, and the mother just falls out, and you see him just standing there. Like, you see, the little child actor was great, man, because you see guilt on his face, and you see him crying. It's like, oh man, that's such a sad scene. And then when he's going blind and he's shaking the thing in the rain, the little instrument he has, like, because he doesn't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm.
He can't see anything. He's just stuck on the porch and it's raining. He can't see, and he's just shaking his tambourine. I'm like, oh man, that's horrible.
Yeah. They do one thing that this movie did that kind of did bother me a little bit was they made his hearing ability almost come off as a superpower with certain scenes, like when he's in the restaurant and everything like that and talking to one girl. I'm like, I can't remember what he said to her, but she was like, wow, you can tell from that. And he's like, yeah, I can even hear the hummingbird outside. And then it does this weird pan zoom to this hummingbird outside. It's like, no, you come on, movie. This isn't what you're supposed to be going for.
I really think he was just spitting game to her. But I mean, like I feel like you can't hear animals outside if you really pay close attention and listen. Like that is a thing. Like when you put all your energy into your ears, you can't hear things that you wouldn't mostly hear when you're just using your eyes, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right. But to be able to go, oh yeah, it's a hummingbird that's out there. You know, you might hear something outside, but to be able to go, yeah, there's a hummingbird just outside the window. It's like, calm down, Daredevil. You're in the wrong universe here.
All right, folks. We've come back to the Brad nitpicking part of the show. Come on, man. Come on.
I don't think it was nitpicky. It's just one of those things that it came out of nowhere in the movie. I was like, what the hell is this? And then it goes back to being normal after that. I was like, okay, well, that was odd.
Well, I think it really speaks to the kind of character they're presenting Ray as someone that really was exceptional. You know, someone who, as far as mainstream music goes, the only person comparable in talent is Stevie Wonder, who's also blind and just a terrific musician. You know, I think they were like speaking more to like how he used everything else he had outside of his eyes to just be a brilliant, talented genius. But as we know, with genius also comes, you know, lack of qualities in other parts of character, meaning that they don't really pull any punches on how Ray is like a complete a-hole to his wife in the height of his career.
Yeah. He basically has affairs left and right with every person he meets that has a voice.
But not every woman, but every woman who he grabs his wrist, he grabs the wrist and, you know, he goes, oh, hello, you know, and that was a deciding factor. But you know what I love, dude? Oh man, what was I about to say? Dude, I love how in a role like this, well, let's talk about the infidelity part. Dude, I think Anjanae Ellis and Regina King, they were excellent, man. As the two women he had affairs with on the road, or the two women they centered on of him having affairs with on the road.
Yeah, Regina King was Margie, right? Or Margie?
I believe so. Hold on. Let me look it up now. Regina King. Yep, she was Margie, and Anjanae was Marianne.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I want to say there wasn't anything that like felt off about any of the actors or any of the roles in this movie. I think everybody was they were on point with it. They knew exactly what the pieces they were supposed to be playing, and they knocked them out of the park. And the direction and script laid right into the actors' hands perfectly to make everything fall seamless. It's one of those rare instances where people fell into their roles, and they fell into the roles in the right way.
Definitely. I love how this was the perfect role to take Jamie Foxx from comedian turned actor to straight up actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like take him into the upper echelon of like, okay, this guy is actually a pretty great actor. Like, let's give him more serious roles. Because it has the perfect balance of drama and comedy. Like if you know how while he was making this film, he actually spoke with and did like little piano rehearsals with Ray Charles. Jamie Foxx already knew how to play piano, but playing piano as if he's blind, you know what I'm saying? Like he would actually sit down with Ray Charles and practice his mannerisms and stuff like that. He took this role serious.
Yeah, and he apparently got really close with Ray Charles during the production of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it shows his dedication, and you know, another part of that is, again, he knew how to balance the humor with the drama. I'd say up until this point, he had a lot of roles that they were dramatic, but he leaned into his humor more than the drama. Like he has a great role in Ali, where he kind of leaned into the humor a bit more, but it was a great role. Whereas something like this, he leaned more into the drama, but still kept that humorous side. You know what I mean?
Right. There are jokes in this movie and stuff, like when he comes up to the bus driver and he's like refusing him service. He's like, well, I lost my eyes, in fighting for this country and everything like that. And, I'm sorry for that. And the bus driver, you know what, I'll make sure you get where you're going personally, it
right.
just,
then he starts smiling.
Right. When the one person's counting out the money and he's, counting out $1 bills. Here's 5, 10, 15. And little things that where people would take advantage of him, but he'd always find a way to turn the tables in some way in his favor.
Yeah, like one of the most memorable jokes to me is like when he finally walks out on the first person that spit on him, the woman who basically his rent for staying with her was just to have sex with her.
Yeah. Where she yells at him for like cooking with the lights off, and he's like, what does it change for me? I'm blind.
No, not even that scene. The scene where he's leaving and Terrence Howard goes, Ray, come on back, Ray. Come on, we can work something out. He's like, nah, you lay the pipe down now. I'm out of here. You have sex with her. I'm done. And then the moment where he's walking away when he first meets his wife after they have their date, he says, oh, I know where I'm going. Just 10 steps this way, 10 steps that way. Hello, I'm at such and such street. Like it's a perfect balance with this, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta say, the scene where he's detoxing, that's such a harrowing sequence, man.
Yeah, that's something that we didn't even touch on. His addiction to heroin.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know about him.
Really?
So I completely forgot that he was addicted to heroin and everything, which kind of works also with the pair that we put this movie with, because Elvis Presley also had a major drug problem. But that detoxing and everything like that, even the scenes where, he's first introduced to it and you slowly see him become addicted to it and it starts ruining his life and even his career a little bit. Finally getting the detox and everything and starting to rekindle a little bit after that. But yeah, that was a rough scene. Rough in a good way, like not bad to watch. It's just, it was hard to watch.
Yeah, man. And I want to take it back a little bit. This is the morals of the music industry. I like how he's in the studio and you see him shaking a bit, and one of the sound engineer dudes, I imagine he's probably one of the sound engineer dudes, he goes, man, he's got that junkie itch. Like, you cannot trust the junkie. Y'all got to get him under control. He says, yeah, but he sounds great. Yeah, but the song sounds great.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I just shook my head, but I'm like, yeah, it probably went down like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly how the music industry is. We don't care what you're hopped up on, as long as you keep giving us that good music that we can sell to people. Keep making me money, and I don't care what you're doing in your personal life.
Yeah, and I like how the film doesn't it doesn't mince words like with that. Even when he gets the great deal at ABC Records, like he gets caught on the plane with some drugs, they go, listen, man, we've gotten you off the hook before, but this is a big deal now. I don't think we can get our lawyers involved, but you might need to make some changes now. They're not telling them this morally. They're telling them this like, in order for you to keep making us money so we can keep making you money, you're going to have to play ball.
Right. You have to start following our rules. We're not telling you to stop, but you need to, be a little bit more discreet with it, kind of.
Right. And yeah, man, something about that is just soul draining. He's not a perfect person either. You understand?
Oh, no.
But when you're working for people that don't have your best interest physically, but just have your best interest career-wise.
I was going to say financially, but even then it's not, they don't have his best interest at heart at all. They have their own best interest financially. So basically whatever is going to make them the most amount of money, that's the path they're going to follow. They could care less if it's going to lead to your death or anything. All they care about is, do they get their money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love Harry Lennox's role as Joe Adams. I like how he comes in and you notice that he causes a rift between Ray Charles and Jeff, who is Clifton Powell's character, the guy that basically was with him since the beginning when he was traveling with the band where they would count on his money and they got in a fight. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Jeff.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how Jeff slowly starts to get jealous of Joe Adams. And from our standpoint, we think, yeah, Joe Adams comes off a little uppity, but then we realize, no, Joe Adams is just a professional. Like he tells his bandmates, like, hey man, you late today. I'm docking you such dollars. Like, you know, and the guy goes, wait a minute, we always let him get away with that. He says, nah, but there's a new rule here. No more being late. And finally he reveals to Ray, or Ray lets us know that, hey man, I know you've been stealing money from me, so it's not like you're exactly innocent either.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's such a powerful scene between them, man, where he basically says to Ray, like, look man, you say I broke your heart, you broke mine a long time ago. And he just kind of gets mad and leaves. I was like, man, that's powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Even the Raylettes, we didn't even get into them and their whole thing with joining in as the singers for him and his music. You know, which, yeah, that there is so much to Ray Charles's story that this movie covers it all. This is a long movie. This movie is about 2.5 hours long.
It is, but it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't feel long at all. It's the same thing with the Elvis movie that we're about to talk about. It's also a 2.5 hour movie, which is still a long movie.
See, that kind of felt long, but that was just because I had to take a piss.
Oh,
it wasn't because of the flow, but we'll get into that one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, long story short, one of my favorite movies of all time. Great writing, great directing, terrific acting. I give this a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, this is an easy 5 out of 5. The acting is on point. The script, pacing, and everything is on point. Every actor brings their A game to this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you even have some small little roles, like Warwick Davis pops in for like 5 minutes as the introduction of Ray Charles to like a talent show when he's first getting started. You know, like it's little things like that. He still puts his full A game in. I don't think Warwick Davis has a B game, though. I think he gives his all in everything he's in, but at the same time.
Yeah, I did notice him. I don't know him for Willow. I know him for the show he has with Ricky Gervais called Life's Too Short. That's what I know him for.
See, I knew him as Wicket from Star Wars, and then I knew him as the Leprechaun in the Leprechaun horror movie series.
I still haven't watched those, but I know they're great.
They are, I don't want to say they're fantastic, but they have a place in my heart. I love them.
I've heard of them. I just still haven't watched them yet. All right, man. Go ahead.
Needless to say, this movie is a 5 out of 5. If you haven't seen this movie, you need to go out and see it. It is absolutely fantastic. As far as I can tell, it's very accurate to the real story of Ray Charles. Any inaccuracies with it are just Hollywooded kind of, additions and not so much contradictions to his actual life.
I take biopics with a grain of salt. I mean, I think Aaron Sorkin said a terrific quote. I'm paraphrasing when he was asked about The Social Network. He says, "Listen, man, I'm a storyteller. I'm not a journalist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a painter. I'm not a photographer. I look at this as a painting of Ray, not a photographer, not a photograph. You know what I mean?"
Right. Yeah, this is definitely an artist portrayal of him. But at the same time, when it comes to like the cliff notes of his life, they didn't make anything up. They didn't add anything in that didn't happen. This is a pretty mellow movie that follows the life of Ray Charles.
All right, man. If we're all set, we can move on to the quote unquote king, Elvis.
Yes. So releasing just this last weekend from director Baz Luhrmann, we have the biopic about Elvis, the king of rock and roll. Basically, the entire life story of Elvis, kind of as he's growing up in a poor neighborhood. His father is sent to jail, and he lives in a Black community where he kind of becomes a part of Black culture with the way dance, music, even their religion and everything like that takes place.
Let's say what happened. He came into a Black church, got the Holy Ghost, started dancing.
Yeah.
And he gained Black soul.
And he gained Black soul.
That's what happened.
Yes. So basically he became the whitest Black man in America, more or less.
This pre-Eminem.
Pre-Eminem, yes. By basically introducing like Black culture and Black music to white people as a white person. And this is even exemplified by, with, I'm trying to remember his name, Colonel Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks, amazingly, who even takes him on because he's a white actor.
Mm-hmm.
So taking him on, and basically it's the entire story of Elvis going through his career and making it up top, and eventually going too far into the political side where he gets shot down, ends up having to enlist in the military, comes back, becomes a movie star, decides that he really doesn't want this life, goes back to doing music, and the entire entanglement of his life being constricted by this one manager who's using him as his, way to get out of debt.
Okay, you done?
Yes.
Let me tell you something, man. When I first went to see this movie, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Baz Luhrmann, I like Romeo and Juliet, but I know him for making musicals, and you know how I love musicals.
I was surprised that you weren't expecting this to be more of a musical.
I was expecting this to be way more of a music. Well, kind of. It had musical ways. We'll get into that. Anyway, I was looking at this like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this one. This movie is way better than I expected it to be, man.
Yes. One thing that this movie really shines with is its cinematography use. Its way of camera angles, pushing, different viewpoints and everything like that. Like seeing his manager, like watching him through like the steps and the stairs. It's perfect. Being able to kind of like see everything from different perspectives on the stage than just a straight shot of Elvis and everything.
This film took 8 cups of coffee and never let up. And I liked it, man. Mm-hmm. I liked it way better than I expected to, dude. Like you said, the cinematography was just on point. I love how it starts off. And I guess this is how you can kind of tell you're in a Baz Luhrmann film. It starts off with, Colonel Parker having like the little heart attack thing. And, he starts walking around dreamlike. And then I think you get like a Star Trek billboard. And then we kind of swirl around announcements of Elvis playing at a venue in a Star Trek fashion. And we just start spinning around. I'm like, whoa, like this movie's like literally taking me for a spin. And I was like, I like how over the top this is straight from the start.
Right. And then it just goes straight into basically more toward the end of the movie when Elvis is kind of passing out because he's being overworked and everything like that, and running into a situation where he's given
drugs too.
Yeah. Yeah. He's having drug abuse. He's being overworked and everything. But he's given a shot of, I'm guessing, adrenaline in order to keep going and get back on stage for this new show that he's on. And then we cut back to him growing up, being discovered by him. I kind of like that this story wasn't so much from the perspective of Elvis, but it was more from the perspective of his manager, who is very well known to have taken advantage of Elvis, from start to finish of his life. It came out after Elvis had died, sadly, but by then the damage was so known that nobody would work with this guy anymore. His career ended when Elvis died, not only because he lost the superstar that he had in his pocket, but because everything came out about how shitty he treated Elvis throughout his entire career and how he held him back, basically forcing his own will on Elvis in order to get as much money as he could.
I'm going to say this, man. As I was watching this film, Austin Butler, who I pretty much didn't know who he was before this movie. I thought, okay, all right, they did him well on Elvis. He has the Elvis swagger. He fits very well in this role. Mm-hmm. Tom Hanks, I was like, man, Tom is kind of coming off of just a tad over the top in this movie. But then I kind of realized that's kind of the point. Like from what I heard, Tom Parker was kind of an over the top dude.
Yeah, there's some video and stuff of him and everything like that. And yeah, he was very much I need to get mine kind of person. Yeah. And everything was just something in his way to get what he was after. I didn't really go too much into his gambling addiction and everything, but apparently there were like cases where he would be out gambling while Elvis was playing and everything like that at the hotel while, he basically was accruing more debt and then forcing Elvis to play more shows in order to pay it off.
He was a married man too. I didn't know he was married. The film doesn't go into that, but hey, this is one thing where, again, the film doesn't hold his feet to the fire for this. And it is what it is. It's Hollywood, but it doesn't really. I don't want to talk about. Let's talk about more pros and talk about the cons later. Okay, so pros. Yeah, dude, the pacing. Like I said, the only reason this felt like 2.5 hours is because I need to take a piss. But like I said, other than that, the pacing was well done. I liked it. I like seeing the trajectory of Elvis. I love that shot of when they're on the what do you call that thing that goes all around? You know what I'm talking about. The wheel, the Wonder Wheel.
Oh, the Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel. And I like that one scene where Elvis kind of like seals his fate, where Colonel Tom Parker's like, are you ready to fly, Mr. Presley? He's like, yeah, I'm ready to fly. And I like how they shake hands, and from then on, you could tell. Like, I like how Baz Luhrmann sets the scene. He sets it as a failed meeting of, as Tom Hanks puts it later in the movie, two lonely kids looking for eternity. You know what I mean? Two lonely souls, two odd souls looking for eternity. And going from then on, I like the Hollywood montage. I like how when he first gets into the movies, he's on the bus and he's walking towards us with the camera, and we see all his bandmates and you see their names flash up as he's talking about all the bad movies he did with his friends. I like that. I thought that was like, this film in all of its flashiness is kind of a commentary on Hollywood a little bit.
Oh yeah, and how it abuses its stars and kind of makes them form into their own safe culture and everything. Because near the beginning, we see how he's very controversial, how people are like, oh, he's doing the demons music, he's tempting the minds of the youth. The segregation was a huge issue during the time that Elvis Presley was starting to come about in music. And with the fact that he played music like a black man, but he was allowed into white venues and everything, was a huge problem to people, because it was seen as a way against segregation, which a lot of these venues, they wouldn't let black people into the venues, but then they'd have the white people coming and dancing to the music of Elvis Presley, which was heavily based around black culture and the musicians in it. So it's definitely, he wasn't a political force, but he was thrown into a world where politics were always going to be surrounding him and what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh man, one of my favorite sequences, dude, is when he's at the talent show. I think it's when he first performs, and I like how the camera keeps zooming in on his crouch.
Oh yeah,
as he starts gyrating, all the women have like internal orgasms, all screaming like ah! And it's this one uncomfortable scene, but I love how uncomfortable it was because it just adds to the film's like over the top flair where Tom Hanks is narrating a woman going through the orgasmic moments. He's like, I saw a woman that felt things she didn't think she should be feeling at that moment. I was like, this movie is so crazy.
I will say the slow kind of Southern drawl Tom Hanks accent as he's like,
he's supposed to be Southern.
It was supposed to be kind of a Southern drawl a little bit. But he's
Dutch. He's Dutch.
Is
he?
Not
Southern. He's Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also love in that same scene where Elvis actually like turns to one of his bandmates and goes, "Why are these girls all screaming like that? What's going on?"
Yeah, man, it was just it's ridiculous. And when you really think of something like that being controversial back then, I'm like, oh my goodness, wait until these people find out about WAP.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, that one threw a whole new wrench in the plans of
Like you think this is bad? Oh man!
Well, I even love our music. Well, even in the scene where it was like after he was told, you so much as wiggle a finger, you're going to jail, and he immediately gets on stage and just wiggles his finger before going into a full-on kind of just his past self, because this is after they tried to change him into a new Elvis that's safer for families and not gyrating on stage, and and I'm trying to remember, I think it was BB King that he was talking to that was like, look, they're not going to throw a white man in jail. There's another reason why you're being held back and everything. And we later find out the reason for that.
Right. You're right. I was going to talk about how what had happened. After his mother passes. See, and I wouldn't expect a film like this to bring this kind of emotion out of me because everything is so over the top, and I'm not. Frankly, I didn't take a lot of this movie seriously because I was just like I was entertained by it more than anything. But I like the acting chops Austin Butler pulled out when he's in his mom's closet, grabbing her dress, crying. Like that was a sincerely sad moment where I felt bad for him. Like man, he really loved. Well, every man loves his mama, but he really loved his mama. Like even though she was a lush that loved him and wanted the best for him. I'm sure he loves his dad too, but his dad is a little like kind of a pushover. He doesn't really know how to speak up a little bit in moments like where Tom Parker is trying to swindle everybody. His mom at least kind of went, well, wait a minute. Well, what does this mean?
Maybe this isn't what's best for you. She really did have Elvis's best intentions at heart and kind of saw behind the veil of, look at all this money we can make. His father kind of fell for that though, with look at what we can do. Look what we can become.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that moment where Tom Parker, the Colonel, he goes in there. He says, "Hey, your father needs you. You should go to him." And he's, Elvis is crying like, "Man, I can't. I don't want to see anybody. Like, I miss my mama." I felt sad for him, man, because it showed he was still a little boy. You know what I mean? At that moment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he goes through a travesty. And of course, you have Colonel Tom Parker he doesn't care about Elvis at all. All he sees is dollar signs. So he's like, you got to go out there. You got to, get in front of the press, take some photos with your father, and then they'll all go away. That's all you got to do. And he doesn't have Elvis's, best interest in heart. He would have had the press leave if that were the case. But instead, he's like, no, you got to go out and do this. Show that you're compassionate. We got to use this to our advantage. Even though your mom died, we can use this to, get somewhere.
You think he never cared about him?
I think that not really.
I don't think he never cared about him, but I think he did use him for sure. But I don't think it was a thing where he never cared.
I think it definitely wasn't like a friendship caring or anything like that. It was definitely I care about you because you have a benefit to my life, not so much hey, I care about your well-being. Because if he cared about his well-being, he wouldn't have let the drugs thing happen. He would have been, more attentive to him and his family dealings and everything like that, because Elvis has a wife and kid, and basically Tom Parker sees that as a hindrance to his career, because it's going to cause him to not be able to work as much or do as much, because he's going to have his family in heart and motion. So I don't think he had Elvis's best interest at heart at all. He had his best interest at heart in order to make more money. And even though he comes out and like says, I put so much money into you, so much effort, I did all this for you, he was doing that for himself. Let's be honest. He did not care about Elvis. And there's a lot of people that think that, he was the best thing to happen to Elvis. But at the same time, yeah, he brought Elvis into the starlight, but there were so many chances that Elvis had to get out of his grasp, and he could have kept going without him. He did a good thing in bringing Elvis to the spotlight, but once he started trying to change him in order to save his own ass, that's when their career should have, diverted at that point.
Yeah, because but before we get to Las Vegas, I wanted to talk about, what I thought was interesting. I just think it's an interesting kind of like segue in the plot. I like how when he's constructing the Christmas special with the two producers, and I like how the film goes in an interesting direction where, Elvis is, he's these guys are giving him an avenue in order for him to kind of go back to the old Elvis. You know what I mean? They're giving him a live set stage where he can perform live and things of that nature. And I like how when it cuts into him making I guess the song for the civil rights civil rights protests that were happening back then, where he makes a song live on TV speaking out for it. And I like how that goes like I guess back then viral or popular. And
it's the thing that everybody was talking about.
Right. I thought that was an interesting segue in the plot. Like, I like how they focused on that, how he kind of used TV in order to see if he can get his old mojo back, so to speak.
Yeah, and I love that the entire time you have Tom Hanks' character just running around. No, you're gonna sing "Here Comes Santa Claus."
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, it even has like the producers like come back and it's like, no, you're gonna sell, I think it was like a sewing machine or something like that. And it's like, no, he is definitely going to want one. So is the wife. They're going to use it to make all kinds of Christmas sweaters, right after he sings "Here Comes Santa Claus." See, it's very Christmassy. And then it just does the pan of the camera back behind to show that there's a whole second set made for his political song that he had written the day before.
I like another funny scene from that. I like when he's walking the people who control whether so what were those people? Were they like with the Nielsen ratings, or like with the people who he was sitting down with? Were they the people that like owned the network? Who were they again?
The people that Tom Parker was sitting with?
Yeah.
I think those were just like people that worked for the television network. Okay. And they had like signed a deal that Elvis would do a Christmas special. So when he didn't sing any songs about Christmas, that's when he was like, this isn't a Christmas special at all. I paid for a Christmas special. You're going to have a lawsuit on your hands.
I like when he's first walking him in there. He goes, yeah, what's that one Christmas song? Drummer, the little drummer boy. Yeah, he'll sing that. Yeah, dude, this guy had it all figured out, man. The moment he first laid his hands on Elvis, he had, remember the merch?
Merch. I love that scene. And it's like perfect marketing that even companies and, different artist labels do today with, you got to play both sides. We have an I love Elvis pin and an I hate Elvis pin, because guess what? They might hate him, but we're still going to make money off of it.
Right. No popularity is bad popularity.
Right. Yeah, I want to say that Justin Bieber's like marketing team did the same thing. Like a lot of the I hate Justin Bieber stuff and everything that was out around that time was actually merch from the same company that did all his merchandise.
Dude, you know the story I love, the T-Pain story. T-Pain found out there was a website called I Hate T-Pain. Mm-hmm. This man bought the domain, and all the attention that went to that website and all the networking, that all the stuff that came to that website came to him, and he got paid off a website that was supposed to be anti him.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was,
yeah.
One thing, just because you brought up T-Pain, that I found interesting is he recently was speaking about his Twitch career and everything, like playing games and doing like live music and stuff on Twitch. And he said he's made more on Twitch in just the last couple of years than he made in his entire music career previously.
No, he made millions in the industry.
He's apparently making more off Twitch now.
Really?
Yeah. Which I don't know if that says about the music industry prior to this, or if it says how much Twitch people are making.
Yeah, that says a lot, actually. Wow. Okay, that's something to consider. Hey, you want to move DFV to Twitch?
Yeah, we're gonna do live streams of us just a screen showing us eating popcorn, watching movies, and going, that's a good part. Because we can't show the movie.
We can't show the movie. We can show the trailer just like 50 times as we're talking.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they put that. Wait, I got to wait for that scene to pop up real quick. Okay, yeah, that 3-second scene right there. Yeah, that was a great scene. Listen, I love the whole the climax in Vegas, because it's a perfect tragic final act, because you could tell the one thing Elvis wants to do is just perform in front of an audience and just dazzle them. That's what he loves to do. And he's doing that, but he's sucked into a long contract that he's not even aware of, because his colonel tells him like, yes, we'll do a few shows here, then finally go overseas as you want. Like we'll perform overseas. I'm telling you, we just have to do stuff here. And finally he realizes, in kind of like a drunken performance, that you don't even have a visa. You're not even a citizen of this country, you son of a b. And he kind of like goes off on him. Dude, I love that dude, because it's just the perfect it's the perfect doomed final act for both of them. He's right back at the place where he got ran out of for gambling, the colonel, and Elvis is right at the place where he always wanted to be, but he's stuck there.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, he finally attained his dream of, getting to do his music his way, but he's trapped in this eternal loop of not being able to go anywhere and do anything. And I did find it interesting that the first like live broadcast kind of concert and everything was Elvis. And not only that, but it's still the largest live broadcast concert to ever be held.
Really?
Yeah. Or that's what the movie said, at least, at like 1.56 billion people tuning into it, which I can't think of any other band or anything like by today's standards that has done anything like that would hit anywhere near those numbers. Because you got to keep in mind, Elvis never toured internationally. So every country was tuning into an Elvis concert for the first time through this live broadcast.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, man, I love that. And I even like the whole trajectory between now him and his wife are divorced. I like how he says goodbye to his daughter Lisa Marie, and tells his wife like like, when I'm gone, nobody's gonna even remember me. I'm a sham. I can't honestly think he would believe that. I think that's the movie. Elvis had to know he was popular.
if I recall correctly, there were a couple things on like the books of his life that mentioned that he didn't actually think he was as big as he was, where he did kind of see himself as a washed out celebrity, because he only played the one venue. So he would see a lot of the same people in those crowds because those were commoners for the casino and stuff like that. And in Las Vegas, they give passes away for free to people that live there because they want the stadium filled. So it became a mix of that and being able to not go anywhere and feeling like he couldn't do anything that made him feel like maybe he wasn't as big as he really was.
Okay. All right. Well, I like how it shows him going off in his plane, kind of like a bird in the skies. I think he says in one of his in one of his words to
going to the Rock of Eternity.
There it is, what he said to Priscilla in the car. And I like how it cuts to him, and you see kind of footage of Austin Butler as kind of like a fat older Elvis mixed with the real Elvis at that age, and they're singing Unchained Melody. And I thought, man, that's just such a beautiful sequence, because you see, he a little tired, he's a little washed up, but you see him, he still got that voice, he still got that performance value in him as the women are clapping, going, yeah, Elvis. And he kind of
even on his last show, he gave it his all. He gave the full Elvis performance.
And we go from that, and we go from Colonel Parker passing away, I feel like overall it set up a great climax. The film paces itself very well throughout everything. Only two things I got that I feel like the film, I understand it's a celebration of Elvis, so you're not gonna hold his feet to the fire as much as you should, like they did with Ray. They celebrated Ray, but they held his feet to the fire on some things. One thing is I like how they pay homage to the African-American artists that he sang covers of their songs for, when in reality it was kind of theft, because the credit wasn't really given where it was due in most cases. But I like how there is a wink and a nod to the African-American artists that inspired Elvis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they push it more as an inspiration when it was basically straight theft from them. Yeah. But they do at least acknowledge that, things like Hound Dog, he didn't write. He kind of just took that from somebody else. Then you have, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that they showed in the movie. But yeah, it wasn't so much inspirational as people think as it was plain theft.
Yeah, there's that. And Priscilla was a kid, dude. When they first met, she was a kid.
You're talking about his wife?
Yeah. When they met. Yeah. The fact that, go ahead.
Yeah, there's that. They also very lightly glossed over his drug addictions and everything like that. Like, there were negative things in his life that they kind of mentioned, but they didn't go fully into, because this was a celebration of Elvis. But at the same time, I don't hold that against the movie, because it did at the very least acknowledge those things.
Halfway. I mean, the drug addiction, I think it acknowledged it well. It acknowledged it well that he was on the stuff. Like, there's even a fight between him and Priscilla, where Priscilla is like, I don't care about those women you sleep on the road. I'm talking about your drugs. Like it hit it pretty hard. Right. To the fact that they got a divorce in the realm of the movie for that reason. So I don't think I don't hold it against the movie too much, but you're
nitpicking.
Am I? No, because this isn't a hummingbird situation. They keep going back to the African-American artist that he stole from, in a way, going, oh, see, he was paying homage. So it was like, that's not homage, but okay.
I don't think that the movie was going, oh, look, it's cute. He was taking their lyrics and singing them exactly the same. It was kind of showing that
that's exactly what it was doing.
Well, it showed that where he got the lyrics from and everything like that. It wasn't kind of being,
of course, like
yeah. So it wasn't going, oh no, he was just inspired by black musicians and everything. You see them singing it and then him singing it and it going back and forth and showing this was black music that he stole and was re-singing, and because of him and the culture at the time and him being white, it took off with him versus the actual people that came up with that music.
Of course. This might be the Anthony nitpicking section of the show.
That one I think is a nitpick because I think it played with that well in showing exactly why it took off with him, because the movie does not kind of stray away from like the racial tension that was going on around that time. It takes it head on and it runs with it. And it does the same with those scenes where it's going back and forth between him singing and the original artist singing it, and showing that it was really not his music, but because of the position he was in, it became popular and it became his music as a result. So in a way, it did show that he did completely steal credit from, black musicians and everything like that, and showed how he came to power with that kind of music without giving it any credit, because none of those people are credited at all with any of that music.
Yeah, I got you. Did you know that Baz Luhrmann is credited twice on the writing credit? I was so confused when I saw that. Yeah, he is. The reason for it is he was one part of a writing duo with Sam Bromell and the other with him and Craig Pierce. But I was like, I've never seen a screenwriting credit where the person's name is written twice.
Even on the Wikipedia, it's directed by, screenplay by, story by, and produced by. He's a credit for all four of those.
The story and screenplay thing is common, but I was talking about like it actually says at the end of the film, screenplay by Baz Luhrmann and Sam Bromell, and Baz Luhrmann and Craig Pierce and Jeremy Donner. I was like, does Baz have a twin brother or something that's also named Baz? But then I realized no, they actually listed him twice.
Yeah,
it must be a WGA thing. It's probably a Writers Guild thing. Is why they got it like that.
It has to be a crediting kind of thing of, he wrote it with this person and then he also wrote it with these people. So it had to be credited as groups instead of all together for some kind of, it's the same as like poster billings and everybody's name on the poster in the order they're in and stuff like that. It has to be something like that. I don't think Baz is so full of himself. He's just throwing himself in the credits as much as possible.
No, I didn't think it was that because I'd be like, oh, somebody in the intern department is getting fired. Somebody in the credit department is getting fired for that.
Somebody made a mistake. It's kind of like when they put a typo of somebody's name in the credits and it's like one of the big actors or something. It's like, ooh, someone's going to be in trouble.
Right. Look, man, it's loud. It's over the top. It's beautiful. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's Elvis, dude. I give it a 4.5. I really like this.
Yeah, this one, I really can't think of any problems with it. It's a 5 out of 5. It was a fun movie.
It's 5 to you?
Yeah, it set out to do what it was doing, and I think it knocked it out of the park. The acting on this one, like Austin Butler as Elvis, is just...
he fits.
It's too perfect. If you told me that they literally resurrected Elvis to play himself in this movie, I'd be like, yeah, I believe it. 100%.
Yeah, he fits. He's a pretty great Elvis. From what I heard, he beat out a lot of people like Harry Styles, Miles Teller. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson gave it a go. But I think they made the great. I think they made the right choice. He was the
perfect choice. This is not like it. I don't even care of like seeing like the test screen footage of anybody else that auditioned, because they found the perfect person for it.
It's not hard to be Elvis though, but you gotta have that. You gotta have that it factor about you. I don't know how to describe it, but it's the swagger, it's the charisma, it's the moves. Well, yeah, anyone can do the moves, but it's like Austin just had it, man. He had the screen charisma for this.
Yeah, he played Elvis without it coming off silly, because a lot of what Elvis is very silly. and he played the role seriously, and it came off correct.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this one, it's a 5 out of 5. I can't think of any problems that I had with this movie overall.
Do you see Oscar noms in his future?
In Austin?
Yeah.
Oh, if he can knock roles out like this one, on a regular.
I mean, for this movie.
Oh, for this movie? Maybe.
I see it. I mean, it doesn't come off as. I could see how somebody looks at the trailer and calls it Oscar bait because it's Elvis, and it's a biopic. But I could see it. I could see.
I can definitely see it happening, but I don't know. It's in that weird gap where this might be too under the radar in terms of like a biopic and everything, because it's not very Oscar baity for the movie itself. This
movie's been promoted like a lot.
Has it?
On YouTube.
Oh, maybe I'm just missing. I use ad block on YouTube, so I've been missing the marketing for this movie.
On social media, I've seen a lot of advertisement for this movie.
Okay, so I must be just missing it. I'm just walking around with my hands over my eyes, just going, I see nothing. But yeah.
Well, look, man, I know where I stand. I put Ray over this. What wins out to you?
I put Ray over this still. Okay, Ray definitely has a better capture of his life and everything. Elvis, I give it a 5 out of 5 because it's a super entertaining movie. It's a really easy one to watch. It's long, but at the same time, it doesn't feel long. It knocks everything out of the park. And Ray does the same, but Ray is just that little bit better in terms of what the story it's trying to tell is.
It's more poignant.
Yeah, because Elvis is a very biased side of the story that it's telling and everything, because it is a celebration of him. It's not trying to get into the nitty gritty of Elvis. It's trying to be, here was Elvis, here's why he was so loved, and here's what he went through to get there. With Ray, it's more about, here was his life, here's what he went through, here's how he got to where he was, and here's how he fell and kept getting back up again.
This kind of makes me want to watch more of Luhrmann's work, man, because I've only seen Romeo and Juliet, but this makes me want to watch The Great Gatsby with Leo. I avoided that movie. Moulin Rouge, The Get Down, which was already on my list. I want to see some more Luhrmann, man, because he might actually make me like musicals.
We definitely have to do one for The Great Gatsby, because I didn't realize that you've never seen that movie.
I've read the book. Everyone in high school has read the book.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that just confirms that you went to a high school in the United States.
Right. But no, I never saw that movie because it just looked a little too flashy to me. But he does flashy well. I'll say that about this guy. He does flashy really well. So. All right. Hey, man, you seen any other movies lately?
Not movies. I did binge through all of season 3 of The Umbrella Academy they released.
It's a new one, right?
Yeah. So that just released last Wednesday, and man, I can't wait the next 2 years for us to get season 4 now.
Okay. Yeah, I always heard that was good. I just haven't watched it yet or read the book.
The show is completely different than the comics. It's more or less 2 entirely different stories that follow characters with the same names.
Which do you like better?
The comics are a lot more action focused, while the show is a lot more like family drama focused. They both have their benefits and everything. It's hard to pick between the two on like which is better though, because the comics kind of they skip all the backstory and everything, and they jump right into the action part, which it leaves you going, well, what about this and this? So there's a lot of questions with the comics. The show doesn't have as much action, but at the same time, it builds a much better story. Okay,
I got you. Yeah, I heard The Boys season 3 is out, and I still gotta finish season 1, but I heard people like season 3. I heard they got to the hero-gasm arc, which a lot of people talk about. Oh, guess what I just got advanced tickets for?
Oh, which one?
Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Nope. I got advanced tickets for Nope.
When's that one?
July 14th.
Okay. I gotta keep watch for screenings here because I don't think any have popped up yet.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked one day and it was just available. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get that. I know Thor is out there. I'm probably late to the party now, but we might check that out that weekend maybe.
I plan to see that one opening day. I haven't been watching for screening. The problem with screenings now is because
they don't let you know.
Well, they let you know like a couple days in advance, and then it's also you have to get there like for that one single showing. There's no kind of being able to have the freedom of going, oh no, I want to see, I don't have availability that day, so I'll go the following day at like a 4 p.m. showing or something like that.
Wait, oh, you mean advanced screenings?
Yeah, advanced screenings.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about with AMC. Like I got an advanced screening ticket on AMC.
Oh, I didn't know that one had advanced screening showings for it. Is it a part of like the
I'm saying
investors thing?
I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong term. I'm saying advanced. I meant to say I pre-ordered my tickets. I'm sorry.
Well, that one comes out July 22nd. So if you have one for the 14th, then that's a early screening.
Hold up, wait a minute. July 21st. My bad. I don't know
July
where I got
20. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kept saying advance. I could tell you got it. I could tell you got it confused. No. I pre-ordered it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I have my tickets for that one too.
Nice. You got what you doing? IMAX? I'm doing Dolby.
I'm doing Dolby for that one. When it comes to movies, Dolby is the first one. If for some reason I can't see it in Dolby, then I might see it in IMAX. And then lastly, I'll see it in whatever theater's playing it.
I think when it comes to IMAX at AMC, depending on which one you go to, I call it LIMAX because it's really just a big screen. It's not really IMAX.
It's a big screen and they just put the base on max.
Right. It's base max. That's exactly what it is. It's base max. It's not IMAX.
Yeah. When that's why I like Dolby Cinema, because it's actually a better projector screen. It's actually, a better audio system and stuff like that. Because most IMAX showings aren't actual IMAX. It's just a bigger screen. And
yes, the projector is still on.
I still hate that scene so much. Whenever that comes on, it's still like, the projector. I know that would be dumb if you turned it off now. The movie's about to start.
I took my wife to see the Bob's Burgers movie.
Did she enjoy it?
She, funny story. So, the first time I saw it, I was by myself. This time it was with her. She's been watching the show a little bit more because she likes the show. She says, oh man, I really want to see the movie. I'm like, let's just go see it. So we went to see it. Movie starts off and, they start singing. She goes, is this a musical? I was like, it's like 4 or 5 songs. She goes, I wasn't mentally prepared for this. And, like from that point on, and it's not, they don't sing the whole movie as you and I know. We've talked about it.
Right. Yeah.
But, like that opening song just kind of turned her off. Like, oh gosh, they're singing. Like we went at 10 in the morning, so she wasn't like fully awake.
So she wasn't ready for a musical.
Right. She likes musicals, unlike me. But she was like, you go see something in the morning. She's like, man, it's like I'm going to watch a cartoon in the theater. She was getting excited. Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's that's what this is. And they start singing. She goes, oh gosh, how long?
And now you believe me when I say that's not how the show normally is. I wasn't walking you into a trap. I promise. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I've been shadow watching the episodes with her while I'm at work. I know that they don't sing that often, but I gotta say, man, watching it the second time around, I thought it was more funny this time.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was more funnier than I originally thought. Like, I started mimicking my man that I talked about when I went the first time. I started singing the songs, and my wife was acting like she wasn't with me. Like, right. I liked it this time. I was having a fun time. You
walked out of the theater. She was signing divorce papers, just going, I don't know why. This is clearly a mistake.
No, I didn't go that far, but she kind of liked it for the most part, but it wasn't what she expected it to be.
I can say it wasn't what I expected that movie to be, but I still absolutely had a blast watching it still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I caught on to some jokes that I didn't catch on to beforehand. You know what, man? I honestly feel like that guy I saw in that theater, he might have saw an earlier showing and then went to that one later that night with his friends. Because I don't know,
like he was ready for it. He was in the zone, ready for the songs and everything.
I think so, man. I don't know if I heard him singing it, but he was definitely like, I don't know. Maybe he was just excited. But I kind of caught that bug when I saw it the second time. Like I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, man. That's it for me. All right, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think. What movie do you think is better out of this matchup? Do you like Ray better? Do you give Elvis the edge? Let us know what you think of Austin Butler's performance. Yada, yada, yada. Take care.
Bye.